I mean, excited, absolutely overwhelmed with the way that the guys went about the business. The overall attitude over the last 2 weeks has been phenomenal to try and reinforce the results that have gone before it, to keep us on this crest of a wave, as it were. But most importantly, I think the guys in the game today found another conundrum to solve. The first half was very, very tight. There were good periods that they controlled possession, and we did a very good job of limiting any clear-cut chances, which was, of course, important. We denied them any build-up of momentum. And the second period, of course, the set-piece goal makes the world of difference. It starts to open the game up a little bit more. But at that point, you've got to try and take advantage of those spaces. You've got to make good choices, and you've got to be really decisive. And they were all of the above. And, of course, Hanny's yet again been absolutely outstanding.
Thank you, Coach. We'll get a floor for questions. Greg, go ahead.
Peter, this is the first time since May 8th that Austin has been shut out, and to do so, putting up 3 goals, and the expected goals hovered between 0.2 and 0.5 for them throughout the game. Can you explain tactically how do you go about executing that, planning for that?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple of things that go into trying to prepare to play against a team of this calibre, and let's not forget that. But it's got to be executed. It's simple for guys to go off at a tangent and feel as though the game presents something different for them to do. That's easy for players to get distracted, especially when they're working so hard. But I can't reinforce any more than I have done already that the attitude and the willingness, the competitive look about the group, and of course the confidence and the belief that comes with winning 3 games on the spin helps enormously. I mean, there's no doubt about that. When I look out there now, I look at a team that believe they're going to win the game, and they're going to tick all the boxes that give them the opportunity to make that happen. And, you can't always outplay teams of the calibre that we've just run into. We're playing some very, very good sides in these closing fixtures. And, arguably, this one of the best of them, if not the best. Josh has done a fabulous job with this group. They've got some really, really good footballers. And you've got to make sure that you're focused for 90-odd minutes. Whatever your role, whatever your job is, you've got to do it to the very, very best of your ability. And some days that's good enough, and other days it's not, because somebody opposite you is maybe just a little bit too crafty or creative. But today they got it right. They got all the pieces of the puzzle in the right place. And when the opportunities came along, we took advantage of it.
Aside from him, obviously, it felt like Dax had maybe his best performance of the season. Jacob and Shaq both put in huge shifts. I mean, Walker scoring again. What do you make of those guys? You talked about wanting other people to step up, and it feels like they did against, like you said, arguably the best team playing.
Well, I think the other part of this is when you play against good teams, it either inspires players. The good players, it inspires. They step up to the plate. They want that competition. They want to prove themselves. Or you can actually go into your shell. And I think what you're saying is that the guys tonight, they were inspired by the opponent, by the occasion, by the opportunity. And I think just as importantly, they're inspired by keeping this run going, which of course is going to be key to being above that line again. So you're absolutely right. Dax was outstanding. Sean played another 70 minutes. 3rd game in a week. But I do think that given some of the earlier rotation up in Vancouver, we were able to see a more energetic and driven group tonight. Most of them were turning out for their 2nd game. And it's always very, very tough with that 3rd game in a week. We've seen it in the past. And, legs get heavy, and it's tough to to get that sharpness in around the goal, you know, maintain the standards. But tonight, no doubt about it, everyone raised their game.
Gary, the home form had not been great up before this run, and I think you've seen a lot of people coming to the park, sampling the team. I think it's been, you know, a lot of fans have come in and for the first time come to a game here. What does it mean to put together a run like this where you're not only winning but also scoring?
I mean, look, ultimately, I know as well as anyone that we're trying to entertain people as well. And truly, you know, we came off against Toronto and lost 4-3. There were a lot of disappointed people in that locker room, of course, because we lost. I would expect that the fans come in, and whilst there was dejection for our home fans, that we hadn't, you know, been able to add points to the board, or even better than that, win. But they've seen 7 goals and a lot of excitement. So I do understand that. You know, finding the balance between scoring goals, being expansive, being creative, but also winning is a very fine line. Because I think you can add creative players, technicians to any group, but if you get the balance of the group wrong, they become soft, they have a weak underbelly. It's difficult to go away from home and get results. And I think slowly but surely, certainly as we've moved through this season, we've added a couple of extra players in important areas. The guys have kept the faith when we were away from home for such a long period early on. The home form, in my mind, would always, somewhere along the way, have a little bit of a hiccup. Just purely because the surroundings had changed. Teams come to this venue and, you know, they're enjoying playing in front of such a good crowd, in such a good stadium, on such a carpet of a field. So therefore, you've not only got an opposing team that are playing at their best, we're also not an unknown anymore. You know, we're a side that I think Team C are competitive, and on their day, capable of beating most teams. We found it difficult to put all the pieces together through a period of the season, which again is not uncommon for teams. But I think the biggest credit that you can give the group is that they've turned it around, and we've had some very, very decent results. And there's a much better feel about the group. I'm not saying there won't be difficult games again. There will be. You know, we're running to a very, very good LA Galaxy team next week. And I'm sure the challenge will be, you know, as difficult as any that we could imagine, given the standings. But as long as the guys stick to, I think, what they're capable of and what they know the sort of rhythm of the game needs, then we won't be far away.
Gary, it was obvious that Nashville SC has played a very good first half. It's a pretty good team. But it looked like, I don't know, maybe, how do you feel about the fact that maybe you thought that the game could go either way because of the way?
For sure.
Yeah, and what can you share with us about the conversation you had with the guys at halftime that pretty much changed everything?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that the halftime chat was anything that we hadn't already spoken about pre-game. There were some reinforcements, what we needed to try and achieve if we were going to get some pressure eye up the field. There were some reinforcements if they were going to break that press. What did our recovery shape look like? But there were one or two thoughts on how we could be a little bit more expressive with the ball. What would that look like? What questions could we ask? I think most importantly, we got in some very encouraging positions, and it was just that final pass, that final choice, maybe a missed touch at an important time. It wasn't the fact that we weren't getting in good positions. It was we couldn't quite find that telling moment to change the game. And in the end, it came through a dead ball situation, somebody that we've relied on in the past, terrific delivery from Daniel. And that goal did more for our group than I could have done at half-time. Because you're in the lead. It changes the face of the game. The guys were already in a good place. We needed to break the deadlock somehow to force them to commit a little bit more and then maybe take advantage of that. Or to get them in a position where, maybe some anxious moments, a goal down, we're going to, test their quality and resolve at an important time, and we were able to do that. So the opening goal was absolutely vital. If it had gone their way, who knows? I mean, that first goal was so important to either team.
We are going to transition into the chat team. Go ahead.
Gary, Dax sat where you are on Wednesday and gave an impassioned speech for Hani, effectively an MVP campaign speech. How important is it for Hani not just to play the way he has for you guys for 3 years now, but at the most important time of this season, especially when it looked like you guys were kind of at risk of making the playoffs, to do what he could to say, hey, that's not going to be us. We are a team that I believe should make the playoffs, and for him to do what he's done in the past 4 years.
Honestly, Tim, I think his form has been very, very consistent throughout. There were some things that I think let us down as a group at particular stages, and we don't have to go into it now because, I'm in a good mood. But there were some results earlier on in the season, of course, that, we should have seen out and we didn't. So I think he's held himself incredibly well, and he's maintained a very, very high standard. But I think what you should know is, and I think you already do from the way Dak spoke, is that the guys are so behind him. He's in a race for this MVP award. I think that really has been magnified for him and others because he didn't get it last year when I think a lot of people felt he should have. To turn around this year and put in the type of performances and season that he's had is phenomenal. I think it just shows the calibre of the individual. But I think this is all reciprocal. He understands that the better he plays, the more creative and obviously, the more he executes and the more clinical he is, the better it is for the team. The team know likewise. If they can support him in this process to be more effective, then we're all beneficiaries of maybe an award or getting into the playoffs. And, individually, I know that he would love to have the MVP award. But I think if you ask him and peel back the layers, he would say, I want to be above that line. And I do believe that if we are, it gives me a much, much better chance of being chosen as that person.
Great. That's all.
What do you see now that the two, Sebastian and Hani, have actually gone up against each other? What are your thoughts personally, but also knowing who Hani is and his intentions? He's spoken about them publicly. What do you think he thinks about having a performance like that going up against?
Yeah, I've no doubt. Look, people will look at the two guys on the field on the same day, and they're bound to make comparisons. I thought we did a very good job of really keeping Driussi quiet. He is an incredibly talented guy and deserves all the accolades that are coming his way. No two ways about it. The fact that the team is doing so well, of course, is a huge platform for him as well. But he is a massive part of that. He's the biggest reason, probably, likewise Hani is for us, that they're in the position they're in. So I'm not sure you can, on the night, Hani was able to take advantage of some moments at home, be as effective as he has been in the last 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 weeks, however long it is. He constantly causes defenders problems. Tonight, it's been his night. We'll play him in 2 weeks' time, and make no mistake, Driussi next door will be thinking to himself, this will be my night, and I want to make sure that I have an impact on the game. And I would suspect that Austin will be feeling exactly the same way. and it'll be a tremendously difficult game. Tonight is our night, and everyone's going to enjoy it, but we know full well that we've still got work to do, and we've got some very, very tough games coming up.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.